Okay, so today we're going to deep dive into something pretty cool, interactive art, and we've got kind of an odd mix of sources to work with.
Oh, yeah.
A Year 5 art curriculum, and then some background on these two artists,
Right.
Olafur Eliasson and Kaiguo Kang. I'm pretty curious to see what we find.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how like the basic concepts are introduced and
Yeah.
then how these artists take those concepts and really kind of blow them up. You know what I mean?
Totally. And the curriculum document starts off by defining installation art,
Okay.
which is this three-dimensional work that takes over an entire space.
Right.
And it often uses everyday objects in these crazy, unexpected ways
Yeah,
and gets the viewer to interact directly with the art.
totally.
So the first artist, Olafur Eliasson, he embodies this idea.
Yeah.
He has this piece called The Weather Project, where he actually recreated a sunset indoors.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Yeah. It's pretty wild. He uses this big semicircular screen and like hundreds of these special lamps that only emit one color of light,
Wow.
mirrors, and then he even uses a mist machine.
No way.
Yeah, to create this whole artificial sun. And people say that when they stand in it, it's just like a feeling of awe and wonder, but also disorientation. Like
Whoa.
it makes you question what's real, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a common theme in his work, messing with our senses.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
The document also mentions atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I bet the atmosphere he created with that installation was insane.
Oh, I bet it was amazing.
Yeah.
He's not just like trying to copy how a sunset looks, you know? He wants to make you feel the same way you feel when you see a real sunset, like
Yeah.
bathed in this warm light, and how that feeling changes when you're in this controlled environment.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Now, the second artist, Kaiguo Kang,
Mm-hmm.
he's got a completely different approach
Right.
to interactive art. He uses explosions.
Yeah.
And I read that he grew up in China during the Cultural Revolution. And, I mean, explosions were just part of life.
Yeah.
Normal thing, sadly.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. But I think that experience really shaped his art,
Absolutely.
He uses gunpowder and fireworks, but not just for the spectacle of it. He's exploring these deeper themes like energy and transformation,
Right.
the relationship between destruction and creation.
Which makes me think about how much an artist's personal experiences can shape their concept,
Absolutely.
which is another thing the document talks about.
Yeah, and for Go Cheng, his concept often revolves around cultural memory and how history affects us today.
Yeah.
The power of nature, which he shows as both beautiful and destructive, and he really wants his art to make people feel something,
Absolutely.
challenge the way they think about things. One of his most famous pieces was actually called Project to Extend the Great Wall of China by 10,000 Meters, Project for Extraterrestrials, Mupa 10.
Wow.
He used gunpowder to basically make this temporary extension of the Great Wall, just like this big statement about how ambitious humans are and how time just keeps moving forward. So both of these artists, they create these totally immersive experiences, right? Where
Yeah.
you can't tell where the art ends and the viewer begins.
Right. They make the audience part of the art
Yeah.
instead of just standing back and watching.
And that's the core of interactive art, right?
It is that. You're not just looking at it.
Yeah.
You're like physically, emotionally, intellectually
Yeah.
engaged. It
Yeah.
makes you question things, feel things, be part of it.
Now, the curriculum document also brings up this other artist, Lorenzo Quinn,
Okay.
and his piece, Support Save Venice from Drowning.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's not interactive in the same way as the other two.
That's true, but it definitely still gets people thinking. It's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
huge sculpture of these giant hands coming out of the water
Wow.
to hold up this old building, and it's this really powerful image,
Yeah.
about how climate change is threatening Venice, which is this beautiful, fragile city. So even though you can't touch it or anything, it's still supposed to start a conversation, make people aware and think about how they can help protect the planet.
So it's really cool to see how these artists all take these different approaches,
Yeah.
but they have the same goal in mind.
Yeah.
Get the viewer engaged and make them respond.
And that's what makes interactive art so interesting, right? It's not just pretty to look at. It's supposed to make you think and feel and even act.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to how powerful interactive art can be. It's so much more than just an aesthetic experience.
Right.
It can really get you thinking and feeling and even make you want to do something.
Hmm.
So I'm curious, what do you think about the ethics of using something like explosions in art? Is it okay to use something that could be dangerous to make a point?
That's a really good question. And I think it's something that artists and viewers need to think about carefully.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it for today.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Yeah, this was fun.
I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.